Good morning and welcome to each one of you.
I won't be in your way, will I?
We are very pleased that so many of you were able to make our gathering this morning. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to Sister Kathleen Connell from the Eastern American province, who comes to us today by way of London. We are really so pleased to have you at our Province Day, Kathleen, and our anticipation of the celebration of the Feast of the Founding of the Institute. For those of you who do not know Kathleen, Kathleen has a BA from Marymount College, Tarrytown in English, a master's degree from Fordham University in spirituality, and a master's and doctoral degree from St. John's University in European history. She taught at Marymount College for over 30 years and has been recognized and honored for her outstanding teaching. During her tenure at Marymount College, she also held administrative positions, chairing the Humanities and History programs and the Rank and Tenure Committee. Kathleen was also a member of the Fordham Presidential Task Force. Presently, she serves on the Board of Trustees for Marymount University in Arlington, Virginia, and she recently completed a term on the Board of Trustees for Marymount Manhattan College in New York. Kathleen's scholarly pursuits have led to research in her academic field and also into the French School of Spirituality and the history of the Religious of the Sacred Heart of Mary. Kathleen authored A Journey in Faith and Time, The History of the Religious of the Sacred Heart of Mary, Volume 2 in 1993 and Volume 3 in 2006. She is currently working on a fourth volume and doing research on Mother Joseph Butler, an educator with a vision. Kathleen has placed her many personal gifts and academic interests at the service of the Eastern American province and the Institute. Until recently, she was a member of the International Sources Commission, and she continues to serve as historian for the Institute. Kathleen leads retreats and lectures widely for the Religious of the Sacred Heart of Mary, the RSHM Extended Family, Network of Schools, and faculties and staffs of RSHM schools. Not only is Kathleen a woman of profound faith, steeped in the RSHM charism and tradition, and a brilliant scholar and skilled educator, she's also an engaging storyteller and a woman with a delightful sense of humor. So it is my pleasure to present to you today Sister Kathleen Connell.
I'm delighted to be with you here in California on your Province Day, anticipating the celebration of the Institute's founding. And I'm particularly happy to see old friends from the province that I haven't seen in several years, and to see and to welcome members of the extended family, many of whom I have met before and known for years. So it's very nice to see you there. In preparing the title of my talk, by the way, is Called to be Mystics and Prophets for the World, Gailhac and our chapter theme. And in preparing my talks for today, I had the opportunity to read the minutes of the Provincial Advisory Council of October 2011, when the council members met with Maria Elena Martinez to discover together what the provincial chapter theme might be. And as they discussed the possibilities, about 20 ideas surfaced and were recorded. And then the advisory committee reflected on these ideas that sort of surfaced in the group. Ideas like grace within that unifies, light and newness, and women's resilience, themes of unfolding, of seeing, caring, acting. And after another period of reflection, the group defined the chapter theme as unfolding grace, mystics and prophets for the world. And they affirmed this theme in a sacred circle of affirmation. So you all sat in that chapter, so you know what I'm talking about. By the end of your chapter, you were no longer speaking about mystics and prophets generically, but you recognize that you have been called to be mystics and prophets. And so you could begin your post-provincial chapter statement with the words, called to be mystics and prophets, we act from a profound relationship with God that is rooted in contemplation, reflection on scriptures, and attentiveness to the signs of the times. So I am here this morning to add something to your conviction. I've been given the title, Called to be Mystics and Prophets for the World, Gailhac and our chapter theme. And I must say, when I'm given a title, and I've been given some beauties, this one was at least manageable, but some of them. In the Philippines, it was just but there's something about cracking open a title like that and working at it. You can tell that's where the spirit is. So I have really enjoyed working on this paper. My focus will be on Gailhac. That's why I've been invited. And so he'll be at the center of the day. He is our founder. We have been very blessed to have him as our founder. And the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Vatican II has reminded me that it was that council who directed us to return to our sources and to our founder's charism. And when you think of it, we responded immediately to that, as most women religious congregations did. We set up an international source committee in Rome in the 60s. Mary Milligan's thesis in 1975, That They May Have Life, helped us to know Gailhac on a deeper level. It's a magnificent study of Gailhac. And the history of the congregation, the journey in faith and time, the translations of the letters of Mère Saint John, Mère Saint Paul, the histories of provinces and regions, the memoirs of the past general superiors, and we're all looking forward to Pat's history. All of these things have provided us with a context for a deeper understanding, not only of our history, but of Gailhac in particular. Every so often, I come across mention of founders who died shortly after they founded the congregation, or of founders who just seem very peculiar. Really very, very peculiar. And sometimes these just picked up and disappeared. You know, they left their congregation and moved away without an inspirational letter or a trace of the charism left behind. So these congregations, and sometimes you meet them at meetings of religious groups, these congregations have only their history to fall back on. They can't speak of their founder's charism because there is no founder to speak of. They have to build on what they call their deep story, their history. They have no founder. But how different for us? Gailhac guided the new congregation for over 40 years. He's alive, giving retreats, visiting communities, writing letters to communities, and to individual sisters who asked for his spiritual direction. The other day I counted that we have 767 of Gailhac's letters to the sisters, translated into contemporary English in the 2 volumes that we recently received. Is there anyone here who worked on the translation into English of those letters? Who? Who are you thinking of? I can see Gretchen is pointing.
No, it's Eileen was pointing at.
No, I just thought Antoine Mary might have, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, oh, Antoine. No, I don't think so.
Not for the.
No, not for French to English. Spanish to English.
The other way around.
Yes. Yeah. But we have all of those letters, and they're really very engaging in modern English. And these letters give us access, clear access to his spirituality and to his eagerness to transmit it to us. I love to open one of those books, the big gray books of letters, because invariably I come upon a letter that I've never read before, and it just opens something. Last year, at Easter time, I gave a retreat in Mozambique, and I just opened the book, and I came upon the only letter that Gailhac has written about Judas. And he speaks of Judas in a very unjudgmental way, believe it or not. He just says that Judas was a man who just did not take advantage of the graces that were given to him. And the novices really latched onto that idea, and as we were moving from day to day, they kept coming back to that letter on about Judas and using the graces that are given and so on. So the same thing happened when I was preparing this. I opened the letters, and I found this beautiful letter by Gailhac, written in 1888. So that was one of his last letters, I guess. And he said, there is something divine-like in the life of a father, and he's talking about himself, who by God's decrees opened the door to the holiness that God expects of each one of you, and who reminds you of the means for unfailingly attaining it. It's so beautiful. The idea of him opening the door to the holiness that God has planned for us and expects from us. And then he says, you surely know all that your vocation demands, but your knowledge is clearer, more precious and attractive when your Father speaks to you about it in detail. That's sweet. I love the thought that he, as he reflects on his efforts, he thinks, I've made it clearer and precious and, what's the other, attractive for the sisters to know God's plan for them and holiness that they're called to. Because I've been able to speak in detail with them through my letters. So I think that it's important to give Gailhac his rightful place in our discussion of mysticism and prophecy. And I'm relying on him, as I always am, to help us understand our call to be mystics for the world in our time, mystics and prophets.